And good afternoon, 1 o'clock Monday. Must be time for the Deal Doctor live stream. Welcome. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful sunny day. If you're not out golfing or bicycling or walking your dog, I would encourage you to try to work that in sometime today. It's a beautiful day out there, and I may even hit the bicycle myself this afternoon. First thing I want to bring up is earnest money deposits. I know this may sound like a broken record to many of you. I hope it sounds like a broken record to many of you, but I still have to say it because once again we had a situation where an EMD was not delivered according to the terms of the purchase agreement, and an agent did not inform the other agent involved that that the buyer was in breach of contract, essentially, as it regards an earnest deposit. As I've said many times in Con Ed and company meetings and live stream, I think you've heard it 100 times from me or more, that when there is an earnest money issue, we as the escrow agents for the earnest money must act as independent and neutral parties. We cannot take the side of our client. We cannot withhold that information from a seller's agent, from a listing agent. If it's our buyer, for example, if our buyer sent us a check that bounced, we have to inform, we're obliged by law to inform them, the other agent, that in fact the check that we got bounced or that we didn't get it at all. This is not a question. It hasn't been a question. It's been abundantly clear for years that that's the position that we have to take. Furthermore, it is also covered under Article 1 in the National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics. I believe we all have to take the Code of Ethics this year, if I'm not mistaken. It's a requirement by the National Association of Realtors. But let's expand for a moment. Let's expand that question about the EMD to a broader issue. Let's pretend that we have a buyer who did provide an EMD. According to the purchase agreement, according to the terms of the purchase agreement, they delivered their earnest money deposit within the period of time that they were supposed to. But 10 days into the process, 10 days into the deal, we find out that that buyer never applied for a mortgage when they were supposed to apply for a mortgage according to the purchase agreement within 3 days. Is it our duty as the agent for the buyer to inform the seller agent, the listing agent, and thus the seller? Is it our duty to provide that information? Basically, are we required to rat out our own client if we discover that they are in breach of contract? Under law, under agency law, the answer is no. We're not required to do that. However, the National Association of Realtors has the right to have more stringent requirements for behavior, for conduct, than the law itself. And it does under Article 1. The requirement to deal honestly and fairly with the public trumps the agency law, which says we have to maintain confidentiality for our clients, for what's in the best interests of our clients. So when you read Article 1 in the National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics, bear in mind that that means that if you discover that your client has not acted in a manner that is consistent with the terms of the contract, you can't keep that a secret. You have to share that with the other party. For example, another example is a seller who doesn't order a well and septic inspection. If the seller's agent becomes aware that they have not ordered a well and septic inspection and a pump card if necessary, then that listing agent has a responsibility to share that information with the buyer's agent under Article 1 of the National Association of Realtors. So you can go right down the line in the contract, and if any of those dates are missed or ignored, or there's the one of the parties is acting in a way that is inconsistent with the terms of the contract, under Article 1, you do have to share that information. So I thought that was made clear before, but I'm making it very clear now. Again, I think you have to, it's a requirement that you do a code of ethics online this year, sometime during the year. I think they have classes for it too, but I do mine online. It's a lot quicker and easier. Another issue that we ran into this past week, because a lot of people were on spring break. I assure you, I know that there were a lot of people on spring break because I got at least 12 phone calls from agents or clients who could not reach one of our agents because that agent was on vacation and had no local backup here in Grand Rapids to handle their business. Our company policy and our independent contractor agreement is very clear that when you go out of town, when you are going to be unavailable for business, you must get a backup, a licensed agent to back up your business. Not a transaction manager individual. It must be someone who can transact business on behalf of your client in your absence. I got an email today from an agent who said something about in my own defense, I was on vacation last week. That's not a defense. In fact, that's kind of an indictment that you didn't operate within the terms of your independent contractor agreement with 5 Star Real Estate. So be very, very careful. I know that a lot of times it's very tempting with today's technology that you can carry a laptop, you can carry a tablet, a mobile phone, and believe that you can operate your business from afar, and many times you can. But I can assure you that 12 times this week, agents were not able to contact their agents or be in contact with their clients, or other agents in a timely fashion, and to provide documents, move documents back and forth, get signatures, and so on and so forth, because they were on vacation. I heard that, I was going to say excuse, I'll call it an explanation for now. But I heard it at least 12 times last week. And so be sure, when you leave town on vacation, make sure you have somebody, a licensed realtor who is capable of doing business for your client on your behalf in place. I don't care if you have to pay them, if you have to agree to some sort of referral, if you agree to trade business. I would encourage you that whatever your agreement is for them to cover your business while you're gone, put that in writing between the two of you. At least have an email that says, here's what is going to happen when I'm out of town and you're covering my business. So, again, that's a company policy. It's in the independent contractor agreement that you all agreed to. So please be sure that when you leave town, have somebody covering you. There's a lot of confusion at the state level, at LARA level, about what you can put on signs in terms of nicknames. I think I've mentioned Premier Home Group, my group name, and whether or not I have to have a DBA in order to do that, whether or not it can be a nickname that you just make up out of the blue, whether or not you have to have it as an LLC. To be real honest, we're getting various questions. We're getting differing answers from Lara itself. Now we're getting closer, I think, to establishing a policy, but until we do, I can't tell you that we have a clear policy established. What I will tell you that we know is that only associate brokers are allowed to get and operate under a DBA. A DBA is different than a nickname. I might have Don Phelan and Associates as my nickname on my sign, and that's okay, but my DBA, Premier Home Group, if I'm going to use that on a sign, I better have that as a DBA. If you can figure out the fine line of distinction there, you're doing better than I am. But we're going to figure it out. We're going to put out a position paper so that everybody understands what our position is as it regards your name and signage, business cards, brochures, and so on. And Facebook. If you have a Facebook business page, it has to have 5-star on it. You have to have somewhere on the home page, the Facebook business page, 5-star and the location that you work from or that office phone number. It can't be buried 2 or 3 clicks down into that page. Same holds true with a website. It has to be very clear that you are operating under the 5-star banner and what office you're working from. So, it's officially spring. I've seen warmer ones. I've seen colder ones. So, Greg had the wisdom to pull a few stats this morning about the nature of business over the last 10 years. And this is kind of what a summary of listings looks like. As you can see, it went way up in 07, which was between 05 and 08 was the peak of the market. 08 hit, the depression hit, and it went kaboom. Our inventory since then has been virtually half of what it used to be back in the 2005 to 2008 range. The reason I bring this up is important. Listings this year, I think I may have mentioned before, listings are the name of the game. There are a lot of buyers out there. We've just seen a decrease in mortgage rates. We're going to see more buyers in the market who've been waiting, and now they've decided it's probably time to pull the trigger. Well, guess what? I don't care how many buyers you have. If you're constantly going up against 10 or 20 or 30 offers, you have a very low percentage of chance of selling houses if you have to do that. But if you're the one with the listing, the one and only listing that all those 30 buyers want, guess what? You're going to get paid. So I encourage you all to go out and focus really aggressively on listings right now. Between now and September, we're going to see, I think, a very strong market, and it's going to be driven by the buyers who see low interest rates. They've been sitting back, or they're new to the market, and they're going to go out and compete for the houses that are available. The fewer houses that there are available, the higher the price and the greater the competition. You may see 30, 40, 50 offers on what few homes are available. So I encourage you to get out there and really, really hustle to get listings. Talk to everybody you know. Talk to friends, family, people that you do business with, the place you get your oil change, where you get your brakes done, your dentist, your doctor, and ask them if they're thinking about selling a home. Think about anybody that they know is going to be making a move, because the ones who control the listings this year will be the agent who controls the market. I don't know how much clearer I can be than that. So, any questions? No questions. How many people we got watching right now?
None.
Nobody's watching. Come on, guys. I mean, it's a sunny day. Anyway. Well, I hope you all watch it later. I'm going to make it short because I've pretty much covered what I needed to. But I encourage you, again, when you're on vacation, make sure somebody's covering your business. If you discover that your client is not operating within the terms, if they're not living up to the terms of the purchase agreement, under Article 1 of the Code of Ethics, you have to make the other party aware of it, and go out there and just work your tail off to get listings, because listings this year, probably as much as ever, are the name of the game. So with that, go enjoy a little bit of sunshine. See you next Monday.